absolutely shocking videos coming in from all across the United States, as of course it looks like we have a fuel shortage on our hand. It's like we're back in 1979, and it didn't take a genius to figure it out that this was happening, and that's why we're going to talk about this issue, plus a lot more. The hacking, the allegations of Russia's involvement, and of course also those pesky stolen NSA hacking tools that suspiciously no one is talking about right now. Lots of propaganda, lots of disinformation to go over, as of course many Americans more than ever are feeling the full brunt of the Biden-Harris administration and their, quote, Build Back Better plans, which aren't really working out that well for a lot of people. And let's be honest here, there has been a lot of obfuscation and distractions trying to make people not realize the full effects of the policies that this new government is putting into place, as most federal agencies, even including the CIA, pat themselves on the back egotistically about their woke ideologies that are absolutely superficial and irrelevant to modern day life, while of course there was just a major cyber attack on our infrastructure that is having real world effects that are absolutely detrimental for the general public. And I think this is why there's such an effort to put people under mass mind control hypnosis to make them not realize this. But the reality of this is shattering, no matter how much utter nonsense propaganda is put out there. Like this article that's titled, quote, Joe Biden had the best start of any presidency in almost a century. Yep, massive crisis on the U.S. border, massive crisis in the Middle East, supply shortages, massive amounts of inflation, and now, of course, a gas shortage. But don't worry, these problems that were created by government will be solved by more government, more green deals, more woke politics, more regulations, more restrictions, more taxes, and those are the ideas that are being perpetrated by the ruling establishment elite that censor anyone questioning it. An era of censorship that is destroying any legitimate criticism of the power establishment, which of course continues its crony corrupt policies that never go checked, and one that is also ruining creativity, as even acknowledged by Donald Glover today, who talked about how everything in our mainline Hollywood entertainment industry is absolutely boring because of people being afraid of being, quote, canceled. And again, we have to understand that this is all a byproduct of big tech censorship. You think about that right now, YouTube moderator watching this video right now, because I know you son of a guns watch this, and you probably are absolutely conflicted with the nonsense garbage being shoved by the mainstream media, which you guys promote to the top of the algorithm, while of course punishing this channel for calling it out. Sorry, it's just difficult sometimes with the censorship, downranking, deplatforming that's going on. That, of course, stop many people from talking about important issues like the issue surrounding Bill Gates' old friend, Jeffrey Epstein, whose accomplices are still at large, being able to do whatever they want. And it's not only just the big-time high-level players here that are getting off with absolute immunity, it's also taxpayer-funded government officials in Florida that allowed Jeffrey Epstein to serve his jail sentence in a private wing of his own jail, while, of course, being able to leave during the day, where many of his underage victims say that they were hurt by him, all, of course, under the protection of a Florida police department that was literally with him at all times. Now, as of today, we are getting the announcement that those government officials that essentially ran a protection racket for Jeffrey Epstein as he was hurting thousands of children in unspeakable ways, those officers, those government officials paid for by your tax dollars will face no consequences at all for their actions. Absolute clear example of just absolute corruption and disgusting behavior by government and local police departments that made sure thousands of children were hurt in unspeakable ways. We can't even mention it here on this YouTube channel. It's looking like also the general public won't be able to find out more information surrounding this case, as of course we are hearing rumors that Ghislaine Maxwell, the individual that was also deemed as someone higher level up than Jeffrey Epstein himself, might be entering a plea deal that, of course, would prevent court proceedings from following and from the public finding out about what actually happened during this government-run extortion trafficking operation that did the most awful, unspeakable things to the smallest human beings that these monster predators could find. That same government, that same people who were close with those monsters are now trying to rule your life even more and telling you what you should do with your physical body with, of course, medical procedures that we can't even mention here on this YouTube channel. But we can mention it on our alternative media platform, LukeUncensored.com, where we could talk about these issues blatantly, openly, without any censorship. I have a lot to say about Dr. Fauci's latest statements to Dr. Rand Paul. There's another horrible story of so many people. I can't even get into it. LukeUncensored.com. Very important video coming out later today. And while we're here, also don't forget to check out some of our sponsors, whether it's water filters, collagen, storable food, supplements. All of that is available on wearechange.org/donate. Go click the link down below to find out important things that you should buy while at the same time supporting this independent media organization. And because you do, I'm still here. Now, I think it's fair to say that this year is facing to be as turbulent as, of course, last year was, especially with all the writings that are on the wall and massive price increases of everyday household items, commodities, and things that people need to live that have been absolutely skyrocketing. So far, in 1 year's time, the New York Federal Reserve Bank is reporting a 9.18% increase in gasoline, 5.79% in food, 9.13% in medical cost, 5.93% in college expenses, and 9.49% in rent. And those, of course, are the official numbers from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, which, of course, many people expect not to be accurate and to actually be a lot higher than what they are reporting. A lot of people already are feeling the squeeze on the economy when it comes to items like lumber and gas that just reached a new national average of $2.99. Now, of course, there's a lot of reasons why things like lumber is going up, things like gas is going up for all different set of circumstances and reasons, supply shortages, policies that have been put into place. But with the price of gas going up, some people are lucky just to even have it, as many states, including North Carolina, have just declared a state of emergency over, of course, shortages in the fuel supply after the state's pipeline suffered a cyber attack last week. Now, we're talking about this cyber attack on this independent media organization. There's a lot of context and information here missing from the mainstream media, but the effects of this attack are being felt days after, of course, it happened. This was one of the reasons why I tweeted that, quote, "I hope everyone is prepared for fuel shortages this summer" over 2 days ago. This, along with the fact that there was already a conversation about the shortages of employees, which the country is facing as a problem as well nationally, since, of course, in many states, unemployment benefits are more beneficial than actually working a 9-to-5 job. Because of the labor shortages, there was already conversations about fuel shortages coming to the United States, especially during the summer. Add that to the inflation that's going on, along with this cyber attack, and of course you have a recipe for disaster. 17 states have already declared a public emergency. Many people are out of gas. They're having troubles getting gas. Pumps are running dry, especially in the southeast coast of the United States. American Airlines is literally adding refuel stops to its long-haul flights, and this really should be a very important wake-up call to the current absolutely ridiculous state of American infrastructure. There was just one hack, one ransomware attack on one pipeline, and we're seeing these effects from it. Now, are the federal authorities telling the truth about what actually happened here? I highly doubt it. Could there be something else happening behind the scenes? I think that is absolutely a very fair analysis to make here, since, of course, all of this is being blamed on Russia. Yes, NBC News and all the other mainstream media organizations are talking about a Russian group that was directly responsible for all of this. And again, as someone who questions the news, where's the evidence? Where's the data? Where's anything that you could prove that this was actually the case and not the very convenient narrative of the intelligentsia state that has been running with these narratives loosely for a number of years now. Again, I need to see the data. I need to see the information, not just unnamed government officials and spies or CIA agents telling us that was the case. Again, when we deal with this online hacking world, we are dealing with a world that is filled with false flags, proxies, and people being able to hide their identities. Whether this was Russia, whether this was China, Venezuela, Iran, all of those possibilities exist. Whether this was even a friendly country that is allied to the United States doing this, that is also yet another potential here. Since, of course, when it comes to cyber warfare, obfuscation and directing blame at others is key towards many of these online operations. And again, when we're seeing these allegations against Russia, could be true, but again, I haven't seen any piece of evidence suggesting it to be true. It is a very convenient narrative that they are running with. We also have to understand that this is a ransom attack by a group of individuals who, quote, didn't mean to create problems. Yes, the group that initially targeted this gas pipeline, attacked American infrastructure, demanded a ransom payment in order to stop this cyber attack and allow the pipeline to work like it previously did. Usually we've seen hacks like this done on many state government websites, where many times these attacks go unreported, and some states even pay the ransom in order to not deal with the larger problems that these hackers are providing for a particular state or a city in the United States. It's also important to note here that some of the tools being used here throughout these previous ransom attacks that were able to successfully get Bitcoin from local governments and state-run agencies are being done by tools created by the NSA, by the U.S. government, by your tax dollars, that created these tools and these exploits that somehow got out there to the World Wide Web. Yes, the NSA had their own tools, their own weapons for online digital warfare. Those weapons have been made available to anyone online. An important talking point that, of course, you're not seeing a lot of mainstream media journalists talking about, since, of course, it obfuscates their larger agenda against Russia and actually holds government officials accountable for the horrible mess that they created. Again, the group that was responsible for this has asked for ransom, has asked for money, and many of these are cyber attacks that are increasing in numbers because of the tools that the NSA made and somehow released to the general public. Now, according to some of the information that we're seeing, we are seeing that this hacking group actually apologized for their hack, and that they, quote, didn't mean to create such a problem, and that they just only wanted a little bit of money. And now, allegedly, the information that we're getting is that they are cooperating and trying to bring the fuel pipeline up, back, and running, and didn't intend the consequences to be, quote, so severe as they were here. Which really makes you question everything here, especially the latest statements from the FBI that say that this was definitely the job of Russia. And again, could be, but that thesis is absolutely ridiculous, since, of course, they have no evidence and proof of it. It could have been anyone. Who do you think it was? Do you think this was a false flag? Do you think this was maybe an internal job? Do you think maybe this was another country like Venezuela, Cuba? Who knows? What do you think's going on here? Let me know down in the comment section below. But regardless of that, our infrastructure is extremely delicate, extremely fragile. Prepare accordingly. I know I have been. If you don't have that much resources, definitely make a lot of friends, build a community, build a neighborhood where, of course, you could provide some tools, you could learn some important skills to be able to share and help during times that are surely going to be getting more difficult from here. I have a lot more to say about this and all the other stuff I can't mention on this YouTube channel, specifically on LukeUncensored.com. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.